Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. It's Lemurian Donna Carol, and I hope you're doing well today. I'm doing pretty well myself, and today, by request, I'm going to channel Frédéric Chopin. And I personally don't listen to a lot of classical music. My mother really liked it, and so I was exposed to Beethoven and Mozart and a little bit of Bach as a child, but I guess I'm not refined enough to listen to classical music, but I know I've heard some of Chopin's music and it's really quite beautiful. So we are going to bring him in and see what he has to say after almost 200 years. Also, I would really appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share these videos. It would help the channel, and it would help me get a little bit more views, I guess. So that would be much appreciated. Before I bring Frédéric in, I want to do a very, very short cleanse just to prepare myself, and also you'll benefit as well because we're going to cleanse the heart chakra, the heart. So if you will, just send a line of communication from your crown all the way up to source, and then pull source energy down into the crown and into the heart. And just let that energy sit there. And then I ask you to connect that source energy to the source within your heart, the flame within your heart, and see that flame getting brighter and bigger and bolder, and see that flame turn into a small round sun in your heart, and see that light, which is source light, take up the space inside your heart. And then, as this flame is burning, we ask that all heartache, all heart problems, all attachments through the heart to anyone or anything that is causing you turmoil and grief, we're asking that these attachments get dissolved in the rays of the sun burning in your heart. So just imagine that sun getting bigger and bigger, and now it takes up your entire body, so that your entire body is on fire, it's warm, and it's being cleansed out into your aura and out into your field. And just sit with that for a few minutes as you release all burdens that are lodged in your heart. Okay, well, thank you for that. So basically, we are having a change of season. In the northern hemisphere, we're going into fall. In the southern hemisphere, we're going into spring. And it's a good time to reevaluate things in your life. Things that people, jobs, anything that you're involved with, organizations, it's a good time to reevaluate if these organizations, people, or things are serving you, or if it would be best to move on or cut out relationships. If you're not feeling fed by someone or appreciated by someone, then it might be time to end that relationship on good terms. Or if you feel stunted in a job, it might be time to look for something else. Life is short, and people hang on to situations usually way past their expiration date, way past the time limit, um, really, where the relationship or the job or the situation or scenario is feeding you. It's not like you're always going to have an even exchange with someone. I mean, obviously, if you're a child, your parents are doing much more for you than you're doing for them. Those roles might change at the end of your life when you do much more for your parents at that time. So it's not like everything has to be tit for tat or an even exchange. But if you're feeling very shorted, if you're feeling underappreciated, if you're feeling like an individual or a situation, there's no gratitude for you, then you need to free yourself up, let go of the space that that person takes, and move on. And sometimes this is not easy, but the reality is you have a lot of guides and a lot of guidance and a lot of help in the spirit world to help you achieve these things, and you can do it. So I don't know where that came from. I think someone needed to hear that, so I hope it helped. I want to say hey to Classy Music. It's nice that you're here. So now I am going to bring in the great composer for the piano, Frédéric Chopin, and his work is beautiful, ethereal. I think he composed many pieces for the piano, although I read that he died quite young. I believe he was 39 when he passed. But he was working in a time when composers and musicians were appreciated. They were the avant-garde, I guess, performers of their time, the Romantic era in Europe. And so this is a time that is long past, obviously, a bygone area where formality and manners and romance and beauty was appreciated. So, not to say that it's not appreciated at this time, but I feel like in 2022, many things are much more disposable. And living in the technological age, it's like you're in one day, out the next kind of thing. So, I'm not that familiar with his music. I've listened to a few pieces. It's very beautiful. My parents tried to give me piano lessons when I was a kid, but I didn't stick with it, so I don't know how to play. But of course, I wish I would have stuck with it. So, all right. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in the master because I know he's a great composer. All right. So at this time, I bring in my highest and best healing and channeling guides. I bring in the archangels, Raphael, Ariel, Michael, and Gabriel. I ask for thousands and thousands and thousands of warrior protection angels around myself, blocking all negative entities, energies, and thought forms. And I'm asking for the Mother Goddess of ancient Lemuria to oversee and overlight this session. I'm asking that Frédéric Chopin, wherever he is in the ethers, if he would be so kind to come in and give a message to the viewers today, especially for the one viewer who requested this channeling. Excuse me one moment. I think I mentioned my nose starts to itch when I channel, which is a little embarrassing. It's just everything gets more sensitive. But we would like Frédéric to come in from wherever he is and give us a message today. And we really do appreciate your presence. Thank you so much for doing this, okay? Good evening. This is Frédéric Chopin, and I am very pleased to be with you today as it brought me out of my work. I've been working, and actually I have been and still am composing music where I am residing, and I am working on a new sonata, of course, for the piano, although it could be used on the harpsichord as well. I have a gentleman friend here, and he is also composing with me, and he is composing for the violin. And so we are putting a piece of music together that will use these two instruments. And as I said, it is a sonata. We hope that it is a light, airy, joy-filled musical experience for the listener. I am, of course, pleased that people listen to my music 100 years after it was composed, and I hoped that my music would survive into posterity, but one never knows, and so it gives me much satisfaction, and it gives me pleasure because it helps me to know that my life was worth living, as tumultuous and sometimes as painful as it was. Tumultuous, I say, not really in my outward life or outward experience, but in my inner experience, as I was very emotional and very emotive at times, but I was extremely emotional in my nature, which was not widely accepted or approved of at the time, for men to be so sensitive in their nature, and yet I was. So music was a beautiful outlet for me. I could really express my emotions, essentially my soul. I could bear all when I was composing music and playing the piano. It would help me channel my various emotions and get them out of my system. And so it helped me to thrive, and it helped me to, in a sense, believe in myself. It validated my emotions. I would say that many times in my life, I was not as open to other people's opinions. I was not open to other people's opinions of myself, of course, unless they were positive, and I could drown in self-pity and victim mentality, as you moderns say. And when I did my life review, I could see that very clearly, how I oftentimes was not there for people who gave me so much, unless they were fans of mine, validating my existence, validating my music, validating my life, then I could relate. But if people were apathetic or critical towards myself, I would often shut down, as I have mentioned. And so that is why music was really my true friend, my safe space where I could experience so many beautiful thoughts and emotions, and I could go out of myself, out into the ethers, and bring in new ways of expressing musical notes, new ways of putting things together that gave me great pleasure. I learned piano at a young age, which helped, of course, in my career as my fingers became very nimble and very attuned to the instrument which I played. I had no desire to play other instruments or even really listen to other instruments, as the piano gave me enough diversity and variety within my experience, within my composing, that I didn't need to go elsewhere. And now that I am composing on the other side, I am working with composers with who are masters of their own instruments, and it gives me so much pleasure as it has broadened my horizons and my abilities. I would say that my life was, for me, it was worth living, but because I was ill so much of the time, it put a damper on my spirit. Oftentimes, I wondered how my life would be if I were healthy, full of vigor and vim, and able to physically do the things that I wanted to do. Money was also a problem, and I was fortunate enough to have patrons and people that appreciated my work that would help me financially, although sometimes I was ashamed of that because I felt like I should be able to provide for myself, take care of myself, as people considered me a master. But it is true that my health was failing, and there was not a way that I could provide in any real way except through my musical abilities. I am very happy that students and musicians still listen to my music and learn the technical skills that they need to master to become masters of the piano by playing my pieces. This gives me a lot of pleasure, and sometimes I chuckle about it because I remember doing the same as a child. So the channel is asking me what I have been doing on the other side for almost 200 years. And what I have been doing is I have been teaching myself to play other instruments. I have been teaching myself to compose with other instruments. And I have been teaching myself to open my ears and my heart more fully to the angelic choirs and the sounds coming from the angelic kingdom as they inspire me. I have been listening and making notes, and pretty much have been in my own world working with other classical musicians, and I have enjoyed it immensely. I have not come back to the earth, as I found the earth to be a difficult place to be. I am much happier in these higher realms of consciousness working with my music. That's not to say that I will never, ever come back to Earth, but I have been to Jupiter, and I do work on Jupiter with elevated souls, and it pleases me to go there as I am able to connect with spiritual teachers and masters and musicians that give me inspiration. So all is well, and I am enjoying my time on the other side, and it does not seem like almost 200 years because time flies in the higher realities. There is no time, so I feel like right now I could be doing what I'm doing forever. I want to say that it gives me much pleasure when students or musicians or concert pianists play my works, and I enjoy their different interpretations of my work, and I enjoy the certain styles or tempos or staccato, the way they play. It fascinates me because each individual spirit has their own way, their unique style, their own expression, and they use my work as a foundation, and then they can move into other realms of their own consciousness to expand on it. And so I like the fact that I can be a foundation, or I can be something, my work can be used for other students and musicians to expand upon. It brings me happiness. I have listened to modern music, and I will say that maybe because I am from a different period, it does not suit my taste or inspire me. So I am sticking to what I know at this time, which is classical music. And this is still my hearth and home. I want to tell you all that I appreciate you listening to me, Frédéric, from where you are. I send you so much love, happiness, and joy. I hope that you all get to experience your passion or passions as I did when I was on the earth world. I got to live my passion, which was music. I pray that you can live your passions, expand on them, and rise to new heights in your mind and heart by doing what you love. If you are a musician, please, you can call my spirit in to attune to yours as you're playing my music or even another composer's music, and I will help you with your fingering of the keys of the piano. I give you much respect and much love. This is Frédéric Chopin, and now I say adieu, and the channel will return. So, hey, I want to say thank you to Frédéric Chopin. We appreciate your ability to come in and your willingness to come in, and I hope that you have many, many wonderful times on the other side with different musicians, different artists. We send you our love, and of course we want you to come back to Earth so that you can inspire many, many more musicians in this reality. I want to send my love to all of the listeners today. I appreciate you. I give you my best. I want to say, if you're going through changes, a hard time, a difficult time, any struggles, that you know the guides are here for you, the angels are here, the ETs are here. Just keep attuning your energy to the higher frequencies, and one day we will all be enlightened. So, sending you my best, and I hope you have a fantastic week. So take care. Amen.